I sold all of my XRP, and that led to me making millions of dollars in crypto. Now, if you're new to the channel, my name is Andrew. I'm the Jack Crypto Guy. I've been in crypto since 2016, and this episode, I'm going to share a story with something that I think a lot of investors kind of fall prey to, or maybe you're someone that's experiencing this right now, where essentially you're holding on to not just XRP or Cardano or something that was an older coin back in 2022, or even if you're somebody like me, the 2016-17 cycle. Before we get into this, I'm not telling you that XRP is going to go down or that you should sell it or that you should do anything other than whatever you feel is best for you, but rather just take something from this story and get some value. I'm going to take you guys back to where at the time there was not as many cryptos as there are today, and my major investments at the time were Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I remember getting a lot of XRP at the time, or I thought it was a lot of XRP. And I held on to that for a while, and I saw it go, I saw it obviously surge in price, and then it went down, went up, went down. Obviously at the time, there was a lot of things going on with the lawsuit, and there was just a lot of drama. And I noticed that XRP just really wasn't doing anything. And at the time, coming from the 2016-17 cycle, I saw a lot of cryptos go up astronomically in price, XRP included. And I think the second time around, it was very underwhelming to see that it just wasn't performing. And I just kept thinking, obviously there's a lawsuit, obviously there's a lot of drama surrounding the coin, there's a lot of controversy. And logically speaking, because I had only been in one cycle previous to this, so I always assumed that the price was just always going to go up to its previous all-time high. And what ended up happening was it just kind of went sideways the whole cycle. I saw these waves of altcoins surge in price. And meanwhile, XRP in particular was just not doing anything. It was actually going down. And at the time, I remember sitting in a space, it was a clubhouse, if I'm not mistaken, and I heard that there was this ICO going on, Solana. And I think it was the Silicon Valley, now they're the All In podcast. I heard that they were getting a lot of allocations. And that alone didn't make me want to buy Solana, but I did kind of do my research, and I was trying to get involved into the ICO, but me being somebody that was a US citizen and just the ICOs in crypto, there was just a lot of legal hurdles that I just couldn't get into any of that. But I knew that there's going to be a lot of attention on this coin because whenever you're in crypto, and especially now there's a lot more dilution obviously, but at the time there was a lot less cryptos, and obviously Binance coin was doing well and there's a lot of things like that, but Solana was something that was getting a lot of attention and there was a lot of people backing it. Not to mention you had Sam Bankman-Fried at the time who was also talking about Solana. And so I just kind of I got this weird feeling. I took a leap and I basically converted all of my XRP to Solana at the time. And I didn't get in below the ICO, but I got in at a pretty good price, which eventually led to me making millions of dollars in crypto. Now, obviously I didn't sell the top, but I got pretty close. And that's a very good lesson that I learned because I went against my better judgment. I was a part of the whole, we're all going to make this, diamond hands, XRP is going to make me millions of dollars because the banks are going to adopt it. And this isn't necessarily just to attack any sort of crypto, right? But you hear these kinds of narratives in any other cryptos. And if you're somebody who's a crypto investor, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And you probably hold some of these coins that just seemingly have done nothing while you've seen other coins just outperform this cycle. And I think that the big lesson that I learned is you never want to do what's called marrying your bags, where you just kind of have hope as an investing strategy. And if you don't really see any kind of price performance, or whenever things are seemingly going really good for the crypto market and your coin's not doing well, there is a chance where it's just not the right time for that coin. But more than often, if it's an older coin, it's just not going to do as well because one, there's a lot of people that have purchased before you, so you're going to have a lot of sell pressure because there's typically a lot of back holders, especially if the coin has been around for as long as something like XRP. Now, that's not to say that in the future it's not going to go to, I think realistically speaking, it can probably still do well, right? But, if I would have just held on to that, because at the time I didn't have a lot of money. And if I would have just stuck in there and just kind of kept going on with what the community was saying, I would have lost out on so much opportunity going into Solana. Now, this doesn't just go for, something as easy as going into something like Solana, but this is a lesson that I think most investors should kind of take into thought and consideration when it comes to investing. You never want to be overly diversified. You, of course, never want to invest more than you can afford to lose, but you always want to be unbiased when it comes to your investing. When it comes to investing, you want to be very non-emotional. I know that whenever money's involved, people tend to get very sensitive. They get very emotional when it comes to whatever they're invested in. And there seems to be like a rivalry when it comes to different cryptos. And your job is to make as much money as you can, get in, get out, and then change your life for the better. You're never meant to be here to just hold this coin while either the foundations dump on you, the investors, the coin just gets diluted because now there's all these like venture capitalists that are now getting involved with these layer ones. I think we're coming up on what could be the biggest bull run of our era. And the worst thing that I think you can do as an investor that's just not making money is hold on to, basically you're just holding on by like a rope, if you can imagine, and you're just hanging on while it's just like burning your hands. You want to think about and analyze what's going on with the market, what's hot, what's being talked about. And if you're not making money and you just kind of sit in the same coin for the last 3 years and it kind of hasn't gone anywhere, you want to think about diversifying at the very minimum. If you're somebody that has more money to allocate, well, then maybe just think about going a little bit out of your comfort zone, doing some research. Cryptocurrency can truly change your life. It changed mine. And I want you guys to make as much money as possible. That's my goal for making this channel. And as always, if you have any questions or any comments, make sure you're subscribed, like this content, share it with a friend, and leave a comment with what you want to see next. I'll see y'all soon.